Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ColeCast podcast. Today, I have with me Daniel Cohen.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. There's not enough evidence to back it up, though.
Oh, Shady O'Miley.
I asked my parents once if I was adopted, and they said no. Why the fuck would I want you?
And Michael
Oh.
Lawton.
Hello. I am Michael Lawton, also known as Wolf and Switchman on YouTube. Hit me up and say hello or a woo.
And my name is Cole. I'm the one to blame for all this. And I have all these guys captive for the next hour. So how does it feel being stuck here with me for the next however long you have left to live?
You know, you kind of made the knots a little bit tight, but I've had worse, so I give knot tying.
I might have to put the gag back in your mouth.
What's the safe word?
While I have all of you captive, I think it's time to reveal today's episode topic. So today, we're going to be talking about
Scary stories.
Now, this can be anything from bone-chilling experiences that you've experienced personally to terrifying tales of the paranormal. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to think of your stories, but in the meantime, does anyone know about the phenomenon known as SLI?
I do not.
No.
SLI, or streetlight interference, is a bizarre phenomenon so frequent that it got apparently its own wiki page and an acronym for it, but it essentially describes the turning off or on of various streetlights when someone happens to walk or drive under them. And I have strangely been experiencing this every time I've been on my one wheel for the last couple weeks, and I don't know why. I'll be commuting back and forth from Full Sail or whatever. I'll be on Full Sail's campus. I'll be on the bike trail. Every time there is a light that goes off. I don't get this. Does anyone else experience anything like this?
This happens to me all the time.
Really?
Yeah. There's certain things that say that you're an SCP or you just have certain type of psychic powers. Or just your electrical energies.
I don't think of it as a paranormal phenomenon or anything, because the way I like to look at it is more of when you watch a commercial or you're listening to something on the radio and you hear a new word, you all of a sudden start to hear that more often, or you see that more often. I think that's what happens. If it wasn't called to your attention, then you wouldn't notice it, but because you start to pick up a quote unquote pattern, you start noticing it more. And so it feels out of place, but I don't know what it is. I just have been experiencing this all the time.
You're gonna make me paranoid after this.
Just be careful when you walk outside.
The lights, they're blinding.
You never know. Maybe it's just what's his face from Harry Potter just fucking with you.
Yeah, with the light thing.
Dumbledore, god dang it.
Taking out all the street lights. Without further ado, who wants to start off the scary stories?
I'll go first because it's nice and light, and I've seen this happen.
All right, Daniel, you're first.
All right.
So you have a name for your story.
Yeah, what's the name of your story?
It's called The Red Star.
The Red Star.
Are we giving points? I'd give that 5 points.
So for context, I grew up in Staten Island, New York, and my house was actually recently built over a cemetery. So obviously paranormal stuff is bound to happen.
Wait,
so
actually?
Yeah, it was built over a cemetery, and there's actually a cemetery 2 blocks down from my house.
Oh.
You said recently, did they it's we need a new place for a house. Let's bulldoze this section of the cemetery.
Oh, let's take out all the tombstones.
Also,
Yeah, I believe if you search up my house on Google Maps, it still shows that my house isn't built.
Is that legal? Can you can the state actually do that? Completely
I mean, they did that in Poltergeist. They just moved the headstones. They got away with it.
Okay, so my house was decorated with 2 red metal stars. We hung them up on the wall in the hallway between the living room and the kitchen. No one was upstairs at all, and it was just me and my mother. We had the house to ourselves for the day. Just all of a sudden, the star actually jumps off the wall and almost hits my mother in the foot.
Whoa. Something is afoot.
That was the Red Star. That's it.
That's your story?
Yep, that's the apparition just said, we're gonna scare you a bit.
The poltergeist was just, fuck this particular star.
So, yeah, literally,
Fuck your feng shui.
yeah, but I think it actually got like pretty close to the foot, like maybe an inch off.
What I immediately think of when I hear a story about, oh, something fell off, whatever, and was like thrown at my foot, it's like, well, how do you know that, like, maybe if it was on a door, like someone closed the door and then it just like happened to fall off because the nail wasn't in all the way or whatever. It's like, I always have to ask questions. I do believe in like ghosts and spirits and whatever, but I've never actually experienced it, and I'm quick to debate whether it's actually real or not, because, you know, like a videographer, as filmmakers, we're able to do a lot of tricks in camera. So with the internet, it's like anyone can fake whatever.
I'm pretty scientific in terms of a lot of things, like logic and everything, but I do believe there's certain amount of things that are unexplained. I do come from a long line of what's known as empaths. Like my mom, my biological mom is literally a witch. She's Irish and she came originally from, God, I can't remember, Celtic or Celtic. I always get the pronunciation of that mixed up.
Celtic.
Yeah, I literally come from a line of like Celtic empaths.
Wow.
So I believe in a lot of weird stuff.
Okay. I have a next story, but let's go around the rotation.
So I believe Shady is next. Shady, what about you? Shady?
I think Shady fell asleep.
I think Shady might have died.
It was the star all along.
He was the star. The ghosts were after him. Michael, would you like to take over while Shady figures out what's going on?
Yes.
From beyond the grave?
Yes. Okay, the name of my story is At the Crossroads. Give you a little bit of context. I come from Southern Illinois, a place that is very, very spoopy. Like, it has a lot of abandoned towns. It has a lot of people that have killed themselves. Literally on my farm, my uncle shot himself in the face.
Whoa.
And died. And not to mention, my farm was pretty spooky because my dad also did something there. There's this place, my friends and I, every year during Halloween, we like to go ghost hunting. But while we're doing ghost hunting, we kind of we put gravestones that have fallen over back up. We try to clean up the place, you know, to show our respects. There's a certain graveyard at an abandoned church that the locals refer to as Devil's Pass. Now, this place is incredibly hard to get to, not because it's in the middle of nowhere, which it is, but even if you put it in GPS, the GPS will take you to many different places. And it won't take you to one solid place majority of the time. And at night, it's even worse because I've literally tried to find this place with my friends for us to kind of go clean it up and stuff during nights. And it's literally, the GPS took us to a crossroads. And do you guys know, what the crossroads represents?
No, please elaborate.
Crossroads represents where this world and the spirit world meet.
Ooh.
So I found that interesting that it took us to a crossroads. But anyways, a little bit more about this cemetery. You could have your brights shining into the cemetery, and it'll go probably 3 feet, and it'll just turn completely to pitch black. The darkness just eats it up. And you step into this place, even with the spotlights on, and you feel heavy. It gets cold the moment you walk into the grass. It feels like a -10 at least change in temperature.
Ooh.
This place is really, 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 you feel it.
Wow.
We've had things move on us. We went inside the church, and of course, stupid people that make pentagrams and stuff and don't know what they're doing just go there like stupid kids, and they just draw all over stuff. It's just a really spoopy place. But anyways, that's my little story.
Wow.
The other world.
Yeah.
Man, I love paranormal. It's honestly one of my favorite I guess genres of horror because I believe it is the most believable and realistic. Like vampires, werewolves, anything in between that. Obviously fake, but paranormal I can believe can be real. It is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Supposedly, like Pennsylvania being a very historic state has a lot of paranormal going ons, especially with places like Gettysburg, like Brandywine, that region. Like apparently there are a lot of like paranormal going ons around there, and I didn't live that far away from there, so that was always kind of like a well, that, and also growing up, I had a like book about the unexplainable, the paranormal things of like Pennsylvania, and that book had talked about a place in a town nearby called the Downingtown Twin Tunnels, and I ended up making a short film based entirely around like what that book had described and what people had like witnessed and whatever. And essentially it was detailing how a woman from, I believe, the 1800s like was chased out of the town after giving birth to a child out of wedlock, and was so distraught that she hanged herself in the open air shaft of this tunnel. And they call it the Twin Tunnels. There's actually 3 tunnels, 2 of which let like the river down below kind of like go through. But I believe they refer to it as the Twin Tunnels because the hill that it goes through, this little like mountain, they break up the tunnels into 2 parts. So there's like one stretch of the tunnel that like leads up to this open air shaft, and then the other stretch of the tunnel just goes really far deep, and it's like pitch black, and it's terrifying. But I absolutely love it. But I made a story around it. But
have I seen that video?
Maybe. But the other details that they talk about was like that there was cult activity going on there. They had seen like a bunch of apparitions. The woman who hanged herself, she dropped the baby like down into the tunnel when she ended up like, hanging there for a little while, and they claim that there are like the sounds of like crying and screaming in there. And then also one of the things that happened like somewhat recently was like I believe in the 1980s or something, a woman had like was walking through the tunnel, and a gang of bikers like basically assaulted her and killed her and chopped up her body into like a bunch of different like pieces, put them in a suitcase, and threw the suitcase into the stream down below. And supposedly, from what I read about this, is they didn't find the suitcase. So one of the predominant characters in that short is like the lady crawling out of the bag and things like that. And I don't know, it's just those urban like local stories are just like always the best.
Yeah.
There was this one. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Oh, he returns from the grave.
Shady,
what was
his
it?
stories have brought him back.
What was it like in the afterlife?
Oh my god, dude! There's no god. Anyway, so going back,
Oh, no.
I just kind of tell you my story real quick. So when I was a kid, I want to say around like 13 or 14, my parents usually frequented this cabin in upstate New York whenever we wanted to go on skiing trips.
Nice.
I remember though at the time I was like really into creepypastas, like Jeff the Killer and whatnot, like the whole 9 yards.
Who wasn't?
Yeah. However, I don't. None of them ever like really frightened me. I don't know what it was, and you're gonna laugh when I say it. But the one that scared me the most was actually an Amazing World of Gumball creepypasta that I heard online.
Really?
Okay.
And they were like talking about how it was like on a VHS tape, how like everyone ended up committing suicide and whatnot. I could not sleep that night. I was freaked out. I woke up the next morning. I just don't know what it was. Still freaked out. I kind of like I felt like what's the kid's name from Home Alone? Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
With my BB gun, just like really paranoid. I'm not making this up. At one point, I just suddenly heard something whisper in my ear, "Red mist." And I looked
Red
around. There was nothing this. So I decided to look it up on YouTube. It was a Squidward creepypasta about him killing himself.
What the hell?
Oh, that's called
Yeah.
delusions, my friend.
It's very specific delusion, wouldn't you think?
Yes, it's very specific. It sends you to another creepypasta.
It's kind of like a premonition, but not a good one.
I mean, okay, so the Amazing World of Gumball thing, I have to comment on it. Why?
What?
What?
That was an interesting comment.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
no.
Wait. What?
What? Daniel?
Daniel? What the
Oh
fuck?
no!
Oh no! They took him too! No! Daniel! Oh, this sucks.
We're
this
next.
sucks.
They're slowly replacing. For all we know, Shady has been replaced. Now Daniel's gonna be replaced.
Daniel's
We're
gonna be
next.
Who's
replaced.
next, Michael?
Oh no!
Hello?
There you
Is
are.
it
Hello?
the real
He's been
Daniel?
replaced.
Yeah, my internet just said I'm gonna head out for a second.
I should
Yeah.
also mention Shady like sent a text message whenever whatever happened, and he said my Wi-Fi went out. Give me a second, but he put my wife went out.
Oh,
Wait, did it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it did.
All right,
Shady,
Michael, you
didn't
and I
tell us
guess
you're
are next.
married.
I mean, I can tell my mother's paranormal story.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. It was friend's 18th birthday. They were doing the usual stuff, drinking and just taking pictures because cameras were big around this time. You know. So they took pictures. And when they uploaded it, they realized that there was a hidden figure in the background of one of them.
Oh,
I love those. I love
what
the
was
hidden
the figure?
figures.
What did it look like?
It was a hidden girl in the corner. Not a lot of more details than that. Just I don't have a picture yet. I'm asking her to send that.
I remember when going back to that asylum trip that I had that is on my channel, that video. There's a part in the video where one of the tour guide people takes us into a bathroom, and she describes having seen some kind of like shadow figure while she was in the bathroom, and that's all she said. And I kept asking her questions. I'm like, where did you see the figure? And she's like, over there. I don't know. It's hard to remember. I was like, okay, well, let me ask you this. Was your flashlight on? She's like, yeah, my flashlight was on. I was like, okay, where was it pointed? And she's like, I don't know, like over there. I'm like, okay, when people say they see things, like, oh, I just saw like a shadow or something, like, describe everything in detail. Like, don't just say, oh, I saw this over there. Recall what happened, like where your flashlight was, whatever it is, so that I can recreate it to prove you wrong. I need to
Mom,
know that it's false.
Cynical.
My mom needs to send more details. Come on, you're ruining the podcast. Yeah, I can see what you mean with that.
I wouldn't film places that have stuff like that because that's normally like they think that if you film places that are supposed to be haunted or have negative energies, that you kind of can bring something home with you.
Oh, but
Can you?
think of how cool that would be to have a ghost buddy.
Yes, I love. Yes, Casper's my favorite movie.
Casper.
No.
Casper.
This is not Casper. This is Casper's uncle, Touchy Feely. He is not a friendly ghost.
Mr. Molester.
No,
Malevolent molester.
his name is Mr. Molester.
I playing video games like Phasmophobia has like fueled my curiosity to like, oh man, imagine a world where ghosts actually could like straight up kill people like how they do. Oh, that would be so cool. but also terrifying. More specifically, it'd be terrifying, but it would be so cool.
Interesting.
I love how you had to catch yourself though on like saying it would be cool, but it would be terrifying though.
It would be terrifying.
It would be so cool if I got killed by ghosts, guys. I mean, how awesome would that be?
Terrifying, but
Actually,
really epic.
I do have a question for everyone.
Yeah.
So, what is like the thing that terrifies you the most? What is your like biggest irrational fear? Because
Spiders.
for me, being chased by something I physically cannot outrun terrifies me. And that, like, anything in the real world, like a car, like, that's fine. I mean, obviously being chased by a car is not great, but it's every time I watch, like, a video of someone being chased, it freaks me the fuck out, and I don't know why. I think it's because, like, if I watch those kind of videos, it's like usually like a video game, right? And there's a knowledge of there's a person playing that video game and they have the ability to make those free choices and whatever. But when I see them getting chased and I have no physical control over if they're able to escape or not, it freaks me out. Like the new game that just came out, I think it's called Poppy's Playtime. There's a part in the game where there's like this big blue, like, I don't know what, cookie monster looking dude that chases you through the tight corridors. And I cannot watch it because it freaks me out. Like people playing Phasmophobia even, like when I play it, obviously I freak out and I scream and I like whatever, but watching other people like loop the ghosts around like the dining room tables and it's like a revenant, I freak out because I know they can't get out of there. And it's just, I cannot watch that. God.
Some pretty severe, oh yeah, I was gonna say pretty severe scopophobia.
Scopophobia? Is that what it is?
Yeah, scopophobia.
Scopophobia. I gotta look that up. But Daniel, what did you say was yours?
Spiders.
Spiders. Why is that?
Yeah.
Is that
Because
linked to anything?
I don't know if it is linked to anything. It's just like me seeing the very slow movements of the arms go, and then at any moment it can just start to speed up. It terrifies me.
Interesting.
More instinctual, probably.
Also, I looked up scopophobia. That's a SCOPO phobia. Because scopophobia is an excessive fear of being stared at. What are the symptoms of scopophobia?
It's not.
No, so scopophobia is being stared at. That doesn't make me uncomfortable because usually I'm staring right back.
Oh.
What about you, Shady? What's your irrational fear?
I'm trying to think of mine because, like, I guess, oh, no, never mind. I know it. Dying a virgin. No, I'm kidding. My actual irrational fear would probably be having to kill, like, if I was ever put in a setting where a lot of, like, people I, like, love dearly were trying to kill me and I had to kill them first. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's like a Hunger Games or yeah,
or a Squid Games or like.
Well, nobody cares about each other there, but
or a
Minecraft.
Yeah, or a Minecraft POV.
Oh my god.
PvP. Like in a situation like that where I have to kill like someone I deeply care about because I feel like at that point I'm really gonna see who they are, and that's probably gonna break me more than the action of killing them themselves, if that makes any sense.
But if it's a kill or be killed thing, like if I had like some kind of disease or some kind of like tumor or something that was unfortunately going to result in like death or whatever, and it was like I was going to die anyway, a part of me would be like, okay, kill or be killed, I'm fine with being killed because either way I'm gonna meet like a gruesome end. But if I have so much more to live for, I would be hesitant to kill, but I don't want to die. So it's like,
well,
it's like watching all those saw traps. Like realistically, yeah, I would absolutely like freak out and not be able to like power through it. But like, if you get past that mental hurdle of like, I'm injuring myself, but not in any way that's too permanent, like, Yeah, just power through it and you'll be good.
Well, it depends on who's on the other end. Who do you have to kill? Because if if it was Christina, Christina and I talked about this. Like, if spoiler alert, cover your ears if you haven't watched Squid Games. The marble episode, or like, if I had to go against Christina in that, normally, no offense, guys, if it was any of you guys, my survival instinct would be like, well, this freaking sucks.
Exactly.
But survival instincts. But against Christina, I would probably take the loss. I would intentionally lose. I would she's one person that I put my survival instinct on the sidelines for because I love her. She's my wife.
As you should.
It sucks to be executioner on that kind of thing.
Like in my case, like I think my fight or flight mode would kick in for like any just for myself at that point. Like I'll be sad about it. Like I will try my best to survive. I'm not gonna feel I'm not gonna feel empathy if I have to kill them, but I'm gonna just feel sad about it. You know, that it's gonna break my heart. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna go through with it.
Right. Like, it's that will. It's the in the words of Saw, Jigsaw, and it's the will to live. I don't think that's what he says. Anyway, what about you, Michael? What's your irrational fear?
Are we talking about biggest fear, or like what are we talking about here?
What do you fear?
I would say commitment, but I'm married. Well, actually, I have a logical answer for this. My biggest fear is being in the middle of the ocean where you look down and all you see is black. I'm not necessarily afraid of the ocean. I'm afraid of what's in the ocean.
So it's like essentially looking down into what is a void, knowing that there isn't really a reachable bottom.
Well, no, it's not the bottom. Like I could care less how deep it is, but what could be in that void, and me being stuck in water where I couldn't get away from something if it tried to attack me.
So that's a tried and true kind of like fear of the dark, of like your mind fills in the blanks of what could potentially be in there, which freaks yourself out. Like,
oh, well, yeah, but if I'm standing in the middle of a dark room and I hear noises around me, like, I'm a martial artist, I'm probably gonna die, but at least I have a fighting chance. But if I'm floating in the water and I have no clue what's underneath me and there's no island or anything for miles, yeah, that scares the crap out of me.
That's actually a really good fear, because it's like it's one thing with all of our fears. At the very least, like it feels like we might have a chance. And when you're in the middle of the ocean and there's nothing you can do, like there's like a huge sense of like inevitable hopelessness.
No, fuck no. I can't survive my thing. If I get chased by something I cannot run, how do you expect me to survive that?
There's a difference between being chased and being killed. Maybe it just wants to smother you with love. But maybe it just wants to push you down and say, "Ooh, woo, daddy."
No, my God.
Oh my God.
It's like the thing from when you grew up or whatever, and you had like your uncle or your cousin or whoever like chase you around the yard when you were little, and they made like boogeyman noises, and they're like, "Ooh," and like they speed up and they get closer and closer, and they're like, "Ah!" And you freak out, and you're like, "Ah!" Like that kind of stuff freaks me out because I can't outrun it.
Like my uncle Mo Lester.
No.
No.
Oh
my
goodness.
No. First name Mo, last name Lester.
Hey, hold on a second. I think you have another fear there. You want to talk about Mr. Esther? Like, are you okay?
No.
He had these long, bony fingers, and all of his
Okay, shut the fuck up. No, I'm good.
So moving on from that nightmare, speaking of nightmare, what is like a nightmare that has like essentially engraved itself into your brain?
Okay,
can I ask a question actually?
Sure. Go for it.
What horror video game, if you were stuck in it, do you think you would have a chance of surviving, and how would you survive?
Oh, surviving?
In a horror game. One horror game, like you could be damaged, you can be bruised, you can be cut up, but you still think that you would have a chance. Like, I think I could survive.
I got
in
it.
that.
I'll start. Dead by Daylight.
No, I would die. I can't
Listen,
even play
God,
Dead
are
by
you
Daylight.
kidding me?
Listen, I think I'd rather have my soul slowly drained as I die multiple times over and over.
Does what is it? Jackbox Trivia Murder Party count?
Just say you want to
I
get murdered,
guess.
dude.
Not horror.
Man, I was thinking like
Among
freaking
Us.
Resident Evil and stuff.
I would not count Among Us as a horror game.
Wait, what about Left 4 Dead? Is Left 4 Dead like a horror game?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can expand it to movies too. Like, what horror movie do you think you would be able to survive?
but horror media.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Easy. Corey in the No, I'm kidding. Like, I
Coraline.
think if I was put...
Oh,
If I
Coraline.
Coraline. I would
could-
survive Coraline.
yeah.
I wouldn't.
I
Too
was-
many bugs.
In my case, if I was put in, like, either Five Nights at Freddy's or Slenderman, I think I could do well in those.
No, you won't.
Oh, I would
I would-
love to be in the
Christ.
world of Five Nights at Freddy's. I would
I would
probably
get
die though.
fucked.
Actually, Shady, it depends on which rendition of Slender Man. Is it the first game or the Arrival?
Oh, the first game. Not fuck Arrival.
Yeah.
The
fuck
first game
Arrival.
is actually more difficult than you remember though, because at a
No,
certain
no,
point
that's
it
what I-
becomes
that's what I
almost
meant.
impossible to win.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said.
Yeah, you probably
Jeez.
actually have a better chance. Oh no, you still die in Arrival.
Yeah.
Do any of them you live? I don't think you live in any of them. I think you still die regardless.
Oh, which one of those would you hate to be in? Because I'd hate to be in sister location.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Oh, you mean
okay.
the Five Nights at Freddy's? No, I would hate. All right, okay. I've done the VR. I have VR. My brother and I have VR back at home, and the Five Nights at Freddy's VR experience is like hands down one of the most like amazing but terrifying experiences I've ever had. But for some reason, the first game freaks me out, and that was actually going to be my follow-up question: is like, what is like the video game that terrified you the most, and the movie that terrified you the most? Because
Oh, okay.
for me, I have two video game answers, but that first Five Nights at Freddy's, hands down, is like trauma for me.
I have a weird one. I have a weird video game I'm terrified of. It's not a horror game either. It's Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda.
Oh.
Oh, that's justifiable though.
Yeah, dude. That
Especially with
freaked me
the
out too.
and drowned creepypasta. That one. Oh my gosh.
Such good creepypastas.
I
We're not friends.
The creepypasta.
A video game that freaks me out. I don't really have a video game that freaks me out per se, but a movie that freaked me out. It's more of a trauma one, and it's not a horror film by any stretch. But Passion of the Christ, when I was younger,
Oh my god.
my dad wanted me to was showing it to me because I was going to Sunday school at the time. He wanted me to know who Jesus was and everything, right? Except my dad, long story short, he has a long job, so like he tends to fall asleep during movies. He was supposed to like get me out of there before the ending of the movie where, you know, Jesus. So he fell asleep and I accidentally saw the crucifixion, and I can never see it again to this day because it just terrifies me, you know, like I don't know why. I guess it's because I saw when I was younger. But like it freaks me out to have, like, the whole nails in your hand and being hung up like that.
Yeah, it sounds very painful.
Dude,
Yeah.
so going back to the video game thing, the other video game that freaks me out the most, especially growing up, was the Jurassic Park game for the Sega Genesis. Holy crap, that intro with the growling and the visuals for that is nightmare fuel. Absolutely terrifying. The sound design on that game freaks me out even to this day. There is just, I like can only watch like a little bit of like gameplay videos of that before I like freak out. Because
I actually,
so terrifying.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get up.
I
I
have
actually just remembered something, just real quick. A video game. This did actually freak me out. Sonic EXE, that online.
Oh,
Flash
that
game.
one.
It's not a
Yeah.
video game. They turned it
is-
into a video game.
It is literally a game where you play as Tails, just inevitably running away from Sonic. It's terrifying.
Yeah, Cole,
That's
it
the whole
tickles
like
your
being
fancy.
chased by a thing you can't outrun.
Yeah. Scary.
Can you outrun your responsibilities? No,
I
I
can't.
have a.
Doing it right
I have
now.
one.
I can't
So-
outrun the tax evasion.
Oh God, the FBI is coming for you.
FBI.
Back to video games. Like, I never really played horror games until probably 4 years ago. The first horror game I ever played, and I do things in big fashion, so I wanted it to be a really scary experience for me. The first horror game I ever played was Resident Evil Biohazard in VR.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
And I beat the game in VR, and it was so horrifying. It was amazing, but so well done. Scary,
congratulations! I couldn't do that. I'm getting.
I think that's a game I would survive. I think I would survive Biohazard.
I'm gonna get the new Resident Evil 4 for Oculus. Right?
Oh, what do you guys think of Village though?
Haven't played.
Village, the story is a little all over the place, but once you get into the meat of it, it actually is pretty good.
Okay, no spoilers on that one. I'm still gonna play that one.
Oh, so good. Lady Domitresque.
You mean lady?
So then the other follow-up question was what was the movie that freaked you out the most? Like what movie scared you the most? And for me, growing up, I think the movie that terrified me the most was actually Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because of the opening like boulder scene and everything. But just before that, where Alfred Molina's character gets like impaled by the spikes in the light trap, and we see like his face in like permanent shock. There's something just so brutal and terrifying about that I watched it on VHS back when that was still a thing, and it traumatized me. But I love that movie.
All right, I have a little silly one now.
Silly
I
one?
have a silly one.
Go for it.
Okay, so there's no way to set up for this, but one of the hold on, let me search. Okay, let me get the name of this movie down. Hold on, where is it?
Well, he's getting that. Shady, do you have one? Or you already said your movie?
Yeah. So for me, just to sum it up real quick, Passion of the Christ, because I got like trauma from that ending. But in terms of video games, Sonic EXE, it kind of correlates with Cole's Fear because it is just something you can never outrun.
Yup.
All right, now I have my silly little movie that scared the shit out of me. Fucking, and I quote, "Bratz Kids Sleepover Adventure."
Oh
Released
my
in 2007.
Oh,
Rated G.
What the?
Rated
why?
G?
Yes.
Why?
Okay. Okay. Number one, the animation, right? The quality of it is just so bad. Like the children themselves are terrifying to look at. Right, and then then like the horror stories they tell is pretty much just pretty good actually. Not gonna lie.
You know,
They kept it PG.
a movie I haven't seen in a long time that I used to always watch around this time. I have two movies. Was Tom and Jerry and the Magic Ring, which was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I could almost quote it from heart, but I haven't seen it in years. And the other one was I think it was called like Rescue Rangers. There's a part in that movie where it takes place on like a volcano, I think, and the guy like pricks his finger on some kind of poisonous like bush or something, and he starts like tripping out, and I don't know why, but that was always like freaky to me. But oh man, I missed watching those movies.
You know what one scared the crap out of me as a kid, but Christina and I rewatched it, and he was like, "This is not scary. I mean, it's good, but it's not nearly as scary as I remembered." Is 13 Ghosts.
13
Wow.
Ghosts. I've never heard of that.
There's a guy who it's basically about ghosts that have been terrorizing people all over this like continent or whatever. And there's a guy that captures them, and he puts them, and he has a special glass where they can't escape. And these aren't like Casper, your friendly ghost, or Mo Lester, your unfriendly ghost. No, this is like freaking brutes that look like something out of a freaking nightmare with a giant spiked axe that cut people in half, sling them across like a junkyard and impale them. These are like some spooky ghosts.
It
So
sounds
he
like
traps.
Oh, go.
Oh, he traps them all in this literal glass house made out of the glass that's supposed to keep them confined. Well, that guy dies, and of course, as horror movie fashion goes, he has his family come to the house to inherit it because the guy had a lot of money. And of course, something goes balls up, and they get released out of their thing, and the family is trapped in here with these ghosts, and you could only see these ghosts with special glasses.
Huh.
So I'll summarize it. There's a part in this movie where this guy is running from the ghost, and like he just stops, and he happens to stop right at the right spot of where an emergency glass door comes down, and it cuts him in half.
Whoa.
And you just see the front part of him slowly slide off, and you see the back part, and with all of his guts, his brains and stuff, just still there against the glass as it slowly slides off too.
That's awesome.
I
It was
actually
terrifying.
that reminded me of another scene that freaked me out when I was a kid. It's gonna sound really dumb, but it was from Star Wars: The Clone Wars of all things. It was in season 4. They were like in the citadel of some sorts, and there was this clone that was trying to get up, and you never see it, but it's implied that he got cut in half by a closing door, right?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, but I think, in my opinion, the scary thing about film are sometimes the things that are left to your own imagination, because you never see it, but you can only imagine the horror that is that just happened. I think that's a lot scarier than actually seeing it, in a way.
That's a great thing when it comes to being filmmakers, is that you can imply violence by the whole like principles of like show the thing that's about to happen, but don't actually show what happens. Just leave it to the imagination.
You guys Google real quick. Google 13 ghosts.
It sounds like 12 Angry Men, but instead of spending like hours debating whether this one blind woman can see through like the elevated
I was told
train,
to watch this.
It sounds like the 12 Angry Men like just offed themselves, and then like one dude joined their suicide pack.
Well, no, like this actually, like not to spoil it for anybody, it has a good story. In the end, to basically just
I'm gonna
save...
deafen because I'm gonna watch this.
Okay, I won't spoil it then. But look up, just Google some of the ghosts from 13 Ghosts. It has some freaking nightmare fuel.
Nightmares.
Oh, okay, I'm back.
What were we were originally talking about nightmares, weren't we? Like
yeah, dreams or nightmares.
Yeah,
yes,
what's a nightmare that has freaked out you guys, or that has like lingered with you? Because I can't think of any one specific nightmare, but I did have, I think, what's called a waking nightmare that I always I happen to bring up when we talk about these, but it was essentially like me waking up in bed, like, and looking around my room is like dematerializing or something. And I listened to a noise machine when I was growing up, so it would play like rain, but this time it was playing like screaming. And so I like run up to my noise machine and I try turning it off, but it doesn't turn off. It just turns like, it just gets louder. And so I keep button mashing it, and it just gets louder and louder and louder and louder until my mom like woke me up again. Apparently I wasn't actually awake. And she said that I was screaming. I was like screaming that entire time. So apparently the thing that I was hearing through my noisemaker must have been my own screams. So I don't know what I had experienced, but that was like one of the first nights we ever spent when we first moved into our house that we currently have back in PA. But I don't know what happened to me, man. That was weird. And that has stayed with me for a long time.
Wow. Do you want to hear mine now?
Yeah.
All right. This is a reoccurring nightmare I used to have as a child quite frequently. It's those rooms that are like padded down like with mattresses, so like you can't bang your head on a wall or whatever.
Like an insane asylum kind of thing?
Yeah, like okay, so it's me locked in that room, and I'm locked up against the back wall, and then these creatures of like different colors, like red, green, blue, uh, basically primary and secondary colors. They just start to slowly approach me, and I think I watched Saw at this time, so I saw like a Saw like a TV, and like Jigsaw was on it. He didn't really do much. He was just kind of watching. But yeah, just that was like my waking. Like that's what wakes me up that was what woke me up at night as a kid.
Oh.
Wait, holy shit! Was I afraid of the fucking Teletubbies?
Wait,
Oh,
were you?
everyone's afraid of the Teletubbies.
Oh my god, oh my god, no fucking way. Were those the Teletubbies that were just fucking approaching me, chained up in an insane asylum?
They just want hugs and love and your soul.
No, please.
Oh my
The
god,
demons are taking him back now.
Oh my Christ.
I had one very recently actually. About a month ago or so. I needed to wake up early for a shoot, so I took a lot of melatonin, right?
Mhm.
And I guess when I take it, I have nightmares. But there was this one I'll never forget. It was I woke up like in my room here in Titusville, and it felt like I had sleep paralysis. Like I could move my eyes, I could move my tongue, but I just could not move my head. So, but I was able to like shift at least ever so slightly. So I was able to make myself at least fall out of my bed, thinking to myself, okay, if I give myself some kind of jolt, like falling out of my bed, I can wake up or I can like start moving again. So I did.
Like the
I fell out of my
Inception
bed.
thing.
I guess. Like I fell out of my bed, and it felt like I was just underwater, like it like with like water pressure and everything. Like it was such a hard time for me just to stand up, and I was just trying to approach my door. I opened my door and I woke up like again in my
Oh.
bed, and this time it's daytime, and I'm like really trying to wake up. Like, oh my god, this is creepy. Now I can't even open my eyes, but like I can like open them slightly to tell like that's my window, yada yada, and everything. Like I need to wake up. I need to wake up. So I was watching Attack on Titan at the time, so I thought to myself, okay, this is what I gotta do. I bit myself as hard as I could, and that was
To
part of my
turn
dream
into
too.
a
And I woke up
Titan.
again. I woke up again for a third time and the final time, and this time I'm actually in my bed. But again, it's so weird. It was my room, like super detailed and everything. It felt like I was awake. I woke up 3 or 4 times in the same situation, in the
Oh,
same
God.
position, same bed,
Oh my
even when I woke up for real.
Ugh.
damn.
And I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like that reminds me of like I used to have dreams where I used to have a full normal day. Nothing weird happened. I had a full detailed day. Like there are days that I have remembered that never happened.
Oh, have you guys? So Deja Vu.
I have
right?
one.
Yes.
I have one.
Oh,
He has one.
Go for it.
You
go
keep
for
on
it.
skipping me.
Well, then
No.
we'll go back. Yeah. Go.
Okay. So
waiting.
I have.
Come
We're
on.
waiting.
Don't make me call Uncle Lester.
Today, Junior.
We're
Uncle
waiting.
Lester will come to your house.
We're waiting.
So I'm laying in my bed. I originally thought I was awake because I was laying in my bed, but everything except for the bed was black. And I didn't know why, but I had like this really creepy, unsettling feeling, and I couldn't move. And then suddenly all the black just looks like eyes are opening. You see eyeballs just opening in the black, and then you see these hands crawling from the ceiling, the eyeball, all of them coming towards the bed. And as they're coming towards the bed, I'm sinking into the bed, into like a dark hole, and I see the light, and all I see is those hands with those eyes on them crawling into the hole coming towards me. That's my story.
Almost as scarier as having sleep paralysis and seeing a can of baked beans hand you Cars 2.
Oh my god.
We're
Stop.
up in the middle of the night with the boys looking for beans.
Looking for
Uh,
beans.
I did have one more scary dream. This happened to me like maybe 2-3 years ago. I was sleeping in my bed. A lot of my scary dreams are usually just a very detailed room of my bed for some reason. And I guess I was having like a scary dream that I was like afraid of the dark or something. And then all of a sudden I looked up and I just saw a girl like hovering like above me.
Bent neck
And,
lady.
and all of a sudden I had like sleep paralysis. I just couldn't move. And then it's weird. It's like, have you guys ever like looked at the sun and you look away and you still see the sun in your eyes in a way?
Yeah.
Yep.
She started
Burning a hole
flashing
in your
like
retina.
exactly. She started flashing like that, like and
She started
turning
flashing
into
you.
no, flashing like that, and she started turning into TV static.
Oh.
And then my bed just started moving into a position to where it's weird. Like I have remember that cabin I was talking about? Like I had I was sleeping in that position how the bed was set up there, and then the bed moved into the position where it was in my house in New Jersey, and then I woke up for real, and that's how it ended. Me
Ugh.
just waking up in my house in Jersey. It's so weird.
I see. I don't get nightmares often. If anything, the things that like startle me when I wake up are like the most reoccurring kind of nightmare dream I get is where I just randomly fall and then I jolt awake. Like I'll be walking on like some kind of sidewalk or whatever, and I'll trip and I'll fall and I'll wake up. And for some reason, that is like the equivalent of me like falling off of a skyscraper and landing and waking up. Like that, that is probably the most reoccurring thing that I get in terms of nightmares. But in terms of like reoccurring dreams, I get a lot of like deja vu stuff happen. Like
Yes, deja vu.
like but deja vu, not in the sense of like, oh, I've done this before, I've been here before, and I'm just like re-experiencing a similar memory. More of like I dream about something and then it actually happens and I remember the dream because it's almost exactly the same.
Like a psychic
I've had
of some
that
sort.
happen.
I don't think it's any kind of premonition, but for some reason it always happens to me, and if I don't end up dreaming about something, I usually get some kind of deja vu dream. But I don't realize it is until it happens. So
I have that so much.
what?
Do you guys start numbering your deja vu moments? I think the highest one I got to was 147.
What the?
I never numbered mine, but like I don't know what it is with me. I always have deja vu moments of like very critical moments,
Right?
and I remember it the day of, and it's weird.
I remember I had a
Sometimes
conversation with you about this.
Exactly. I was just talking
Just like
about this.
that.
I had a deja vu moment one time where I don't know what it was, but usually I roughhouse with my friend, but something told me not to roughhouse with him that day. And ironically enough, I found out later that his appendix actually bursted, or and he needed to get surgery that same fucking day.
Oh my!
Oh, that's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember. So Shady and I, we were with, I think it was David and Brian, and we were doing like a walk around like our apartment area, and we were just like talking about all this, and we brought up deja vu, and yeah, I remember you bringing that up, how it's like important moments so that you can like almost learn what the bad, like you get to make a different choice. Like that was the multiverse branching and you recorrected and now you're back on the main timeline. Like, because for me, deja vu just kind of happens randomly in insignificant moments, which I consider inconvenient, but I have no problem with it because it's inconvenient or it's non-significant. So who cares?
I have a weird theory about why I have like my deja vu moments, which
do too.
I feel like, hear me out. I feel like I've died already in a way, and I'm currently in a hell loop. And
we also talked about this.
Yeah, and like the way for me to break it is for me to correct the mistakes I already made in a way. Like it's super creepy, and it goes against everything I'm supposed to believe in. But like I genuinely believe that because how could I possibly predict some of these things?
In that same conversation that I was talking about, that we had, we also brought up like the ideas of what dreams actually mean or whatever. And I brought up the idea that it's a fun hypothetical to think about the fact that we're all actually on our deathbeds and our lives flashing before our eyes are actually what we're currently experiencing is. So it's like,
can I skip all the moments I've met Shady? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Shady is a new variant.
I'm just kidding, but
dude, he already died once today during our podcast. You don't have to kill him again. Jeez.
I am not Shady. I am now Bob.
Well, no, if you look at your name in Discord, you're Saddy.
Saddy.
No, it's supposed. I misspelled that. It's supposed to spell Shadi, like daddy, but with Shady.
Oh my god.
Is that like the Nigerian version of your name? I am Sadi.
No, yes, I am Sadi. Hello.
Let me explain what I think the deja vu phenomenon is.
Yeah, go for it.
I think the universe, time itself, the beginning of the end, ends with the Big Bang, and the universe resets and leaves us exactly where we were.
But that's where it's like, I don't know, like having a bit of self-awareness. It's really weird to think about it. The fact that once, like, we all die, like taking it into like an unis honest sense, like, yeah, we all are mortals. We all die. But when you really think about the fact that we all eventually die in our own time, like, it's just a weird concept to wrap yourself around and like to get in your head. It's just like, it's weird because also you have to understand that things move on after you. Like, things will happen after you that you physically and mentally cannot comprehend.
Lies. The world ends when I die. Everything's just gonna explode.
When I die, everything dies.
When I have like one of those death switches. When I die, I'm taking everything with me.
I'm not necessarily afraid of dying. I'm more afraid of, I guess, how I'll die.
I don't want to die. I want to live forever, man. I want to get Christine and live forever.
I'm actually the opposite in that sense, Mike. I would rather die young while I'm still in my prime than get old and wither away.
See, what's so weird is, like, I cannot see myself as an old person. I don't know. I can't picture myself as an old person growing to an old age. I want to have a long life, but I just cannot picture it.
It's just you, but wrinklier.
See, if Mike didn't bring up anything about Mo Lester, I think I would say I'm gonna be the really cool uncle who's single and shows up to barbecue and let the
You're gonna light yourself on fire,
bro. What is? Hang on a second. Why does Michael having to bring up like his the molester uncle have to do with you?
No, he's not a molester. His name is Mo. First name Mo. Last name Lester. Middle name Sheldon.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to kill myself. God damn.
I think this is
Sheldon Lester.
I think there's been a miscast in this episode.
But you know what? I think overall this has been a wonderful time. I think we've talked about some disturbing stuff. I don't know why I'm saying this is a great episode, but I think it's been pretty good. I'm definitely gonna have to go through and like re-listen to all this, and I like Halloween Horror Night. Going to Halloween Horror Night didn't freak me out at all, but this might be nightmare fuel. So to those listening, to those who are watching, sorry.
I apologize too.
I apologize for nothing.
I apologize for absolutely fucking nothing. You chose to click on this episode. Congratulations.
Free will does not exist, but in that determined path that we all travel that we call life, you did decide to choose to watch this.
You could be watching porn right now, but instead you watched the opposites.
Bro,
we bring you no pleasure.
You literally could have been watching the Teletubbies, but no, you chose to watch Nightmare Fuel, which, you know what, I guess at that point they're both kind of Nightmare Fuel. You chose this, so you're welcome.
You decided to torture yourself regardless, you masochist. As we come to the close of this episode, I think it's time to say our farewells. Daniel, Shady, Michael, tell the people, the folks, the wonderful people listening or watching this, where they can find you, anything that's going on. Share your info. Come on.
I'll start. So, I actually have 2 scripts in progress. I would still need a team and maybe a good AD because I can't schedule for shit. Huh?
I'm sorry, I just had a cough.
Okay. If you want to ever get into contact with me, my Instagram is spaceman4133. Please surrender your soul to the Dark One. Thanks.
Sounds kinky.
Oh.
Shady, what about you?
Yes, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Shady O'Miley on Instagram, or on Ultra Swag Time or Shady O'Miley on YouTube. I do whatever, I guess, to be honest. Like me and Cole are actually about to make a video very soon. I don't know how I don't want to give it away, but I don't know how I would categorize that, I guess. I don't want to say challenge.
There's a lot of jokes in it.
Oh, right, that one too. Yeah, we have a short film coming up soon. I was actually talking about what we're doing on November 19th. If you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, how would I categorize that?
It's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be a blast. So be sure to look out for that. I mostly do like commentary videos and random shorts, so check me out.
If you wish to find me, merely look under your bed.
Your breast.
Look under your bread.
Your breast.
Open up your sandwich and I'll be there. Same.
What's up, man? How's it going? Peanut butter and jelly? Oh, yeah, that's my favorite. I am a Woven Swiftwind. That's WOLVEN space a Swift SWIFT wind WIND on YouTube. I make high quality let's plays, little skits and stuff of me beating up people and people beating up me. That's stage combat, that's fight choreography, that's all of the above. It's just a general fun time, so come on down and have some fun with this Wolfie, and I promise I will never say a woo.
Kicks ass
Just a
and
little-
also gets kicked in the ass.
Yes. Short disclaimer, I have never said ooh before this video, but prior to this video starting, they got me started on saying ooh. So disclaimer. Okay,
God
I'm good.
damn it.
Huh? Sorry.
Oh, imagine being a furry. Couldn't be me. Anyway,
Nope,
for those
me
of you
neither.
who are listening, thank you for listening to the ColeCast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spreaker, all your favorite streaming services and all that stuff, all that jazz. And I think I hear the souls of the damned here to reclaim our lives. So, goodbye, everyone! Goodbye, everyone! Goodbye!